Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spideydude Experience. I'm Zach Joyner, your friendly neighborhood webmaster and host of the program. Before we get started, we always got to thank our patrons at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Patrons such as Allison, Cindy, Georgia, Greg, Janelle, Jessica, Catherine, Kale, Keegar, Laura Howard, Master Drammon, Phoenician, Scott, Vanessa, and Vicky. Thank you guys for your support. They are our sensational tier of patrons, $5 and up patrons. Next up, we have our VIPs, Scott McGraw, Sebastian, Vinkman, and Winnipeg Webhead. Thank you guys for your support over on patreon.com/Spideydude Network. They are our VIPs. Everybody gets some special perks over there, including our Patreon first show, Books of X, the X-Men podcast, the third part of our opening, our pilot episode, will be launching next month, and then after that, it'll be a Patreon first show. Of course, we have our Vault series, Clone Saga Chronicles, the show that started it all here on the Spideydude Radio Network. And we have Spectacular Radio, the show about the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series that ran in 2008 and 2009 on Kids WB and Disney XD. We've covered all the episodes, all 26 episodes twice. We have Amazing Spider-Man Classics, the show with Jack and Javi Trujillo, giving a father and son perspective about Spider-Man from the beginning. That's season 2. Season 1 was three guys talking about Spidey and going back from the beginning. Then, of course, we have our Sal Buscema era podcast covered by Chris Dedmond. He is going to be talking about Sal Buscema's seminal run on Spectacular Spider-Man, starting from the Return of the Sin Eater all the way up until shortly before the Clone Saga. And then, of course, we have Voices from the Eyrie, a Gargoyles podcast, the show all about the Gargoyles cartoon that ran in the 90s. And if you are watching us live on YouTube, you can always catch our sister show, Make Mine Mayday, the show all about Spider-Girl and her world. Also, programming note, we just had a couple of our last episode, if you were watching us here on the channel, we had our collaborative experience across the Spider podcast. That was a really fun episode talking about podcasting with some fellow Spidey podcasters and kind of talking shop. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Of course, if you're watching us live, thank you. Give us that like, that share, that subscribe. But if you're listening to the audio edition of the program, pay it no mind that we're going to have some references to visual aids and or live comments. So pay that no mind as you listen to us. And if you are going to listen to us on the audio edition, give us that 5-star review. We will leave that 5 stars. We will read that 5-star review on a future episode of the podcast. Of course, if you want your voice heard, you can always leave us a voicemail. The voicemail line is 818-925-6631. That's 818-925-6631. Just make sure you tell us what show you're calling about, and we'll play it live on the respective shows. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And if you're watching with us live, welcome. And hello, everybody. I'm Zach Joyner, friendly neighborhood webmaster of Spidey-Dude.com. This is an episode that we've been sitting on for 2 weeks because it has been a very controversial episode. We've already got comments galore. Tevia says this is going to be fun. We got a lot of hellos from Ryan, Andrew, Mr. Comics 89. Hello there. Says, hey, Vink. So Andrew Haley says he loved the collaborative episode. Justin Shields says, yikes, 26 was bad. Thanks, Ryan, for your comments about the collaborative episode. I had a lot of fun putting that together. We're going to do another one, I feel, pretty soon. So I am looking majorly forward to that. Right now we're a little light on the show. But I've got somebody that I just talked about his show just a minute ago. He is the host of the Sal Buscema era podcast. He is Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hey, Zach. How are you?
Oh, I'm not bad. Well, yeah. So
I'm in the dark whispering because my girlfriend is sleeping behind me.
Oh. So we're both in the dark right now. I didn't turn on my light.
But I should get some spider points. I exposed her to the Spider-Verse today through the cartoon movie. She had never seen it before. We watched it.
Oh, good. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. You got some posters that you're going to be giving out tomorrow, right? God.
Yeah, if you can capture an image from the group because they're upstairs and to unfurl them would just be too much a pain in the ass on the webcam. But can you hear me all right, by the way?
I can hear you fine. You're a little quiet, but it's okay.
So
I'll be able to boost. So I'm doing local recordings on the audio, so I should be able to boost you when I get the.
So everyone live, Zach will pull a picture of what the posters look like. They're the Miles Gwen poster with the big eyes that have Miguel O'Hara coming at Miles all angrily. Maybe he's. I'm going to see the movie tomorrow. So I really want to find out why is Miguel O'Hara the bad guy in this movie. I have PTSD Zach style with that regarding like his Ben Reilly becoming a villain. So if they're making Miguel the villain in this movie, there better be a good explanation. But we have these giant double-sided posters to give away. If you live in the New England area, you can reach out to me and figure out how to get one. I'm in Worcester and Framingham, Massachusetts. But if you're on the network's stream right now or listening to one of the shows and you want a poster, you just got to pay for shipping and handling. The posters are free.
Yeah, so just processing and handling if you want one of these posters. So this is what it looks like.
These are, by the way, large theatrical posters, double-sided people.
Nice. And that's the amount you've got. That's a thick roll, buddy.
Yeah. That's
dude, I'm gonna have to. I'll probably get you some
posters.
I'll have to get you. I may get a couple, and then we may do a giveaway or something. And I'll get some shipped. I'll pay you to ship a couple to me. So,
okay. A tube is like $5.99. So
that's
just the shipping is just a matter of like where people live. That's when it starts becoming like, oh god, it's $12 to ship a poster.
So man, we've got a lot of people watching. 13 already. This is so okay. Chris, let me kind of break down some of the controversy because I feel like I
suddenly realized, by the way, we're both in the dark in our streams.
In fact, hang on just a second.
The Venom symbiote is behind us.
All right. Now I don't look like I'm in a cave. So
now you make me feel alone. What the fuck?
Oh, you're good, buddy. You're good. Well, I got my background. I like showing off the background, so that's why I do it.
So we're here to talk about how awesome the Absolute Carnage storyline right now is, or whatever it's called, Carnage Reigns.
Yeah, hang on. So let me introduce a very special guest to the program. This is a surprise guest. He is a writer for Popverse, but he's also known to longtime fans of this channel and this network as technically the co-founder of the Spideydude Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Lappen-Bertoni. Hello, Josh.
Oh my gosh, you make it sound like such a big deal. You're like a very special guest. Like I'm not.
You are
shield,
a special guest.
But thanks. Yeah.
Well, this is technically this is your first time on the show, I think.
Maybe unless I did another one of these, drive-bys. Hi, Vincent.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, we've got so you've seen, first of all, you cannot give spoilers, obviously, because you're on a NDA. But
I cannot believe
you give a
that the entire movie was just Paul flossing for 2 hours, and it still deserves an Oscar. No, okay.
The last one won the Best Picture Oscar for an animated movie.
I mean, this will win Best Choreography, Best Trolling, Best Soundtrack. No, okay. In all seriousness, Spider-Verse. I got to see Spider-Verse last night, and I wrote the article for it that should be going up sometime tomorrow when the movie's in theaters. And I was just thinking as I was driving home from dinner just now, like, man, I want to see that again. That was fun.
Eric, ask and you shall receive. Round of applause for Bertoni.
I'm doing this on my iPad Pro, and because it's in keyboard mode, the camera's to the side, so I'm at a weird angle.
But you sound good. So
I hope so. There you go. Yeah, no
yeah, just no spoilers to be kind to others. Kelly's right. Don't give spoilers. But
I already revealed Paul, so
dude, that is a classic Bertoniism, though. You giving fake spoilers. You've done that.
Yeah. I should walk everyone off the ledge just in case. There is no Paul in this movie. Do not worry.
I think I predicted
And,
in the last
and even if
episode-
there was, so what? Let the Paul into your heart, like Mary Jane did.
I think a couple episodes ago I had said, "Oh, aren't the kids going to be revealed to be the arms of some demonic entity like Wanda's children in that West Coast Avengers issue?"
Yeah. You
Boy, was I almost on the money there.
Yeah, you almost got that one. I mean, let's be honest, but we'll get
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Again, I'd rather talk about what's going on with Carnage and Miles Morales, because that's actually a really interesting comic book storyline right now.
Yeah, I know. We're going to probably do like whenever that event's over, we'll probably do something for the Patreon page, because I feel like those events need to be due in their own episode now.
Yeah.
And
well, again, the two issues that I've read so far have been really good, and I love the current writer of Miles Morales is so much better than the last one. The last one, I think, went off the rails with whatever they were doing.
Ahmed never captured my attention. Ziegler was
that
probably
stupid Miles clone. That's all like glurk, 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 and that's literally what he said. Was so stupid.
Yeah.
It was just like this giant monster. What's the name of the Goonies creature?
Sloth.
Yeah, he was Sloth of the Miles Morales cast of characters. Hey, you guys!
Oh, dang. So hang on, we got Adam. Adam's here. Hello, Adam. Well, Adam's
It's a regular. Oh,
there's Adam.
it was a regular Brady Bunch. Yay, Brady Bunch!
So okay, so you obviously we'll be doing a full review on. Right now it says Monday. We got to get the date figured out to just double check with everybody. So once we get that, that'll probably change. So give us that subscribe and you'll get updated when we're going to do a actual review of the movie. So your review on Popverse goes up probably tomorrow? Josh?
Well, okay, so mine wasn't a review. My deputy editor Tiffany did a review, and hers is already up. I believe it's a spoiler-free review. She liked it, and Tiffany has very high standards, so her liking it is a very good sign. They had me do one of those like ending explained articles, because those always perform well for websites, because you always have like the people that are leaving the theater being like, I don't know what that meant, so they like just Google it, and we want to be one of the first hits that happens when that comes up. So it was just one of those like ending explainer articles things. But that's a better day at work than slaving away in the sun as I have in the past. So I will gladly be the desk monkey that types up that article. Like, yes, I will go see Spider-Man today.
Josh.
Early. Yes.
Josh also reviewed the burger.
I did.
Which I still haven't done it yet. So.
And
he got paid to do it. That's the best part. You got paid to eat a burger.
What was really good was the ice cream, because it had this like special candy on it. This like Spider-Verse candy that was like crunchy. It tasted like one of those like fruity cereal things or something. That was surprisingly good. I like that better than the burger.
Nice. Okay, I guess we've skirted around it enough. Now that we got Adam here, obviously, issue 26 came out today. The reason that we're recording this, and just as a programming note, we're calling this the season finale because this is the end of this mega arc of Zeb Wells' run, which arguably has been one. I was trying to think of what I could compare it to, and if you guys remember me talking about what's his name, the guy that's writing Daredevil right now, he's about to leave, writes Batman.
Zdarsky.
Zeb Wells' run has reminded me a lot of Zdarsky's Spectacular run, where the mega arc I did not care for, but there were chunks that I really liked, and I feel the same way so far with this. We'll get into it, obviously, but I do want to address one thing about it, because this was obviously something that we all knew about 2 weeks ago, thanks to the leaks. This got leaked on Reddit. This got leaked and it was just like a couple of pages here, a couple of pages there, and then Entertainment Weekly runs a whole spoiler-filled article, basically leaking the end. And this is not something new with Entertainment Weekly. They've done this before. Usually, it seems like every time there's a death in the Marvel Universe, Entertainment Weekly is the one that has it. Has that article. They're the ones that end up, covering it for whatever reason. So that wasn't surprising to me. It was the press release was kind of laughable. I'm not going to lie. So that one was a really bad press release. I don't know what intern wrote that, or if they put it in ChatGPT or whatever. But
it's never interns. It's never interns.
The press release was bad, but honestly, the announcement needed to happen because I had to call my local comic book store right after the news broke to be like, did you see the news? Get on top of the ordering. They were still within their window to add orders, and thank God they did, because the numbers tripled on that book for their store.
Holy crap.
So they needed to sell a book, even though me and the other person both agreed, who effing cares? They're going to bring her back in time for the goddamn movie.
Oh, we already know. I mean, she's going to get brought back.
I agree with everything Kelly had issues with the press release, but let's just brass fucking bottom line. They're going to bring her back. Nobody cares they killed her off. It's like fucking great. Like, this isn't the death of Jean Grey, like in the Dark Phoenix saga, where that meant something.
Well, I mean, yeah. So let's first. I'll do a quick rundown of it. Basically, I love how Adam's just laughing at me because he's like, "Look, I'm happy everybody."
I'm assuming Adam's gesture meant that he agrees with me. It's like, who cares? They're going to bring her back in time.
Well, I mean,
$1 billion movie that's going to make all the money.
But they're doing that, but the optics are terrible for this. Like, this was not the time to do it. It wasn't the book to do it in. If they did a mini series called The Death of Miss Marvel, that probably would have sold just as much as whatever this issue sells, I would imagine. So,
do you think they should have done it in Carol's book?
That would have made more sense.
Yeah, that would have made more sense.
So, I mean, obviously we know the ending, right? I mean, Kamala Khan dies. But how we get there is literally, basically, Rabin shows back up, starts a bunch of crap. We've got the Fantastic Four show up. They help out. They basically forgive Peter for him being a dick. We have Storm and Norman Pepsi Man showing up to help things, and then like the issue literally opens with with Kamala Khan getting interviewed at Osborne Industries. I'm not going to call it Oscorp. I don't know if it's called Oscorp. So
I think it's Oscorp still, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't. Well, Josh and I, we've talked about how. When did Oscorp become?
It's Oscorp now. It's okay to call it Oscorp now.
Yeah.
I just made the point that, like, Oscorp is kind of this Mandela effect thing where, like, throughout all of the old books, it was always Osborne Industries. It was only Oscorp in the 90s show.
Mm-hmm.
Then they used it in the Raimi movie and in the Ultimate Universe. And then the first time it was Oscorp in the comics was the Pulse series by Bendis and Bagley. And, like, since then, it's kind of, like, been Oscorp in the comics. It kind of, like, snuck in there. But, I mean, it's okay to call it Oscorp now. That's what it is. But it's, like, I don't know why he's running it, because I feel like after everything that happened to him, they wouldn't have given the company back. And plus, didn't, like... Oh, no. Liz merged Allen Industries with the other place. So that wasn't part of Oscorp.
Oh, I thought it was, though.
I think Liz was doing her own thing. I'd have to look at...
She started Alchemex.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Alchemex was like her merging her company with another company.
Right.
And her company was like Allen Industries. That's why it was called Alchemex, because it was like Allen Chemicals or something.
Yeah.
Wasn't Norman like masquerading as somebody else though during that period of time too?
Yes. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
That was like during the whole Into Superior, right? That was it.
I still have that shirt in my closet, Zach, from when we did the Chris was right bet.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Kelly jumping in from the comments. Hello, Kelly.
Hi. Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Cool. Okay. So
Kelly, go ahead.
Yeah. So one, it doesn't matter if Kamala is coming back or not. The issue at hand is she's been maybe, 20% of the book? If
Yes.
that is being generous.
Yeah, it
Shows
wasn't a
up,
lot.
straight up first panel in this issue is, oh, I made a bad entrance. Like almost making the joke to then kill her off.
Yeah.
The point is not her death or rebirth as a mutant or whatever the heck they're going to do.
Yeah.
The issue is she literally died in this book just so they could have a death in the book. And that is so stupid. And then add on the fact that she's a person of color.
Yeah.
Today is the last day of Asian and South Pacific Islander Heritage Month, which Kamala falls under.
Right.
She deserved to die in her own book. She deserved to die surrounded by her friends and not people she just met and even just joked with, oh, this is my friend, right? I can call you my friend. Even though they never, I don't believe that they had met until this issue. So no,
Mary Jane.
It literally, I understand that you're just like, whatever, like, it, she's going to come back. That's a very flippant attitude to the respect that character deserved and did not get.
Well, and then also, it also goes to and I was going to bring this up too. The build up, the hype for this issue was basically they're setting up this death. They're calling it's the same month as Gwen Stacy getting off, the 50th anniversary of it. And it was all built on a death. So they decided, instead of pulling the trigger and killing Mary Jane off, which frankly, I mean, everybody would have been pissed, but for entirely different reasons. You then, in the most utterly bizarre way, you write yourself into a corner, and then you use Kamala to write yourself out of the corner that you wrote yourself into. So the way that Kamala dies is she uses her powers that she's not used in comics since 2014.
She said that she can't do it anymore as well.
Yeah. She didn't even know she could do it. She even says it in the issue. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. And then she basically transforms herself into Mary Jane to get stabbed to complete the circle. It's asinine. So not only was it asinine in the buildup, it was disingenuous.
So,
and the point you made,
can I
Chris,
add on to that?
Yeah.
Sorry, Zach. It sucks because I can't raise my hand, but I want to add on to that as well on the powers. Mm-hmm. The reason they stopped letting her have the powers to begin with is they were basically trying to state she didn't have to pretend to be a white blonde woman anymore.
Right.
And she could be herself and still be Miss Marvel. So to kind of have her have this switch and then die as a white woman is a little weird to me. I don't think anyone meant to be this offensive, but
it's unintentional.
Someone should have said something,
It feels like the perfect storm of bad choices where, I don't, I don't think that they meant to be this offensive, but good Lord, it was 6 or 7 bad choices that somebody should have stepped in and said, oh, maybe this is bad to do this during, May, the Asian awareness. I'm getting the name of the month wrong. I apologize.
AAPI month.
AAPI month, yeah. And then maybe having, a white male writer, kill off Kamala Khan is a bad move. Maybe doing it in there's 6 or 7 instances where somebody should have spoken up, and it's weird that didn't happen.
Yeah, and I understand. And Chris, your take overall, I mean, we all know that is factually correct. But then it's on top of that, this was not a earned plot point. It'd have been different if you had Kamala having something to do other than have a miniseries in Dark Web, because that's pretty much. Other than that, I mean, she barely appeared in this book for the last year, 24 issues, and then
that was constantly baffling.
When this leaked, Kelly, you can chime in on this. I'm sitting there just going through, and I'm like, who did they kill? And then once I figured out, or once I saw the leak myself, I went, this is baffling. This is completely baffling, and I'm befuddled by it. But go ahead, Kelly. You have something to say?
No. I mean, I'm completely agreeing with you. I mean, there's no, this comes out of straight left field. And remember when we first saw the cover, and I even said, it was like, what is Kamala even doing on here? I straight up did not remember the little bits and pieces where they even left it in the comics, because her part is so minuscule. Okay, she goes and is now an intern at Osborne Industries and totally found the gold goblin suit. Okay, cool. She has a tie-in to Chasms, because you know what I want to say.
I know
to Chasm's story. But it's all about her and Miles protecting the city, something that we would prefer to see Peter Parker do. But, at least their issue was fun, but that was her tie-in. It had nothing to do with the story, other than it was just set in that universe. And so, again, how is she an integral part of this story? Like you said, this is not earned. And again, I understand people don't stay dead forever. She's definitely not staying dead. But if you can't see how offensive this is, I get it. You're not going to understand the character. You don't relate to her. Totally cool. Not everybody has to, but there is somebody out there who does. And that's what I'm so upset about, because if they had done this to May, I would be a wreck. But and so that's kind of where I'm coming from here.
Because there is
fact
people.
That there's nobody that cares in the Marvel editorial team or to even think about this and really go, oh, hey, if we do this, there will be people upset. They shouldn't be giddy about that. But as Chris, as you said, it wasn't until they, dropped this and basically said, oh, hey, this leaked, so now we got to get on top of it. Did the people calling in and actually wanting the issue triple or double or whatever it takes, when really so hate does sell. That is correct.
And I'm not as offended, and I understand I'm not as offended about this as you are, Kelly, but I'm still throwing my arms up in the air being like, what the fudge is the point of it? Why are we doing this? Who was supposed to really die? What was the point of this?
No, I think Kamala was supposed to die.
It's just the stupidity of it all. It just
so here's my theory.
By the way, real quick, Eric Porter in chat wants a poster. Yes, I'm in Framingham. Yes, you can meet me in Framingham. You can message the Spideydude Radio Network page on Facebook to figure out where we can meet up. Sorry, go ahead.
Sweet. No, you're good.
Don't get murdered. I'm sure Eric's not a murderer. Just you're
By the way,
sure.
And someone in chat brought up Gwen Stacy. I don't consider Gwen Stacy dead anymore. Spider-Gwen is running around in her place.
Well, I mean, look, listen.
But Spider-Gwen isn't running around in her place. What? Oh, God. Okay.
So hang on.
Different freaking characters, dude.
Yeah, they are very different. I will say that. But here's the point that I was trying to make. This feels like somebody at Marvel went, "Oh, Kamala is being portrayed in the MCU as a mutant. Now that we have access to the mutants and she's no longer, and we're not using the Inhumans as our stand-in for the mutants, we need to try to make, figure out we got to figure out a way to make Kamala Khan into a mutant." And why they chose Spider-Man, other than the only thing I can think of the reason they chose Amazing Spider-Man is that it's supposedly the flagship title. But again, Spider-Man, this is something that I have railed against with a lot of Spencer. I said Spencer. Wells's run. Spider-Man's not driving this book. The characters aren't driving this book. This is a very the plot is driving these characters. It's not the characters driving the plot. And I know that I harp on that quite a bit in terms of that, but it's just one of those things. It's baffling. It's offensive because there are people that truly, I didn't get the Miss Marvel phenomenon when it first came out. I ended up picking up this hardcover at Ollie's on a whim. I thought, you know what? This might be a character my daughter might like because I have a daughter now, right? And I ended up reading it, and I loved it. It was a great investment, right? So I liked the character, and I wouldn't have minded her being a supporting character in a Spider-Man book because I've liked their interactions in the past. They did the Marvel team-up issues together. When they've interacted in the past, it was fun. They did the whole thing before Spider-Verse. But here we are, and she comes in, like you say, Kelly, she came in saying, "Oh, here I am to save the day." And it's like, wait, you've been here and you've been around? What? It was.
You've been here this whole time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thematically, it feels off for this arc too, because this arc has been all about Peter and Mary Jane.
Yeah.
And we saw little scenes of Kamala like early on in the arc. Yeah. But it's really weird. That's why, like, in the lead up to this, I was talking to other people at Popverse, and I was like, I don't see how, like, given all the clues that they said it was going to get people angry and they had to avoid conventions, that it could be anyone but Mary Jane, because, like, it just wouldn't make sense, because, like, Felicia hasn't been in this arc, and, like, who's going to get people, like, angry the way that they will Mary Jane? I didn't even think Kamala, and when I saw the leaked image, like, there was the part of me that thought it was fake. I was like, well, that's random. She hasn't even, like, been in this battle that they've been having.
Right.
Greg over in chat has a thing. I don't know if you can post that. He makes a very interesting point I have read somewhere before.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's read but not verified that many writers at Marvel don't want to be on Spidey because it is the book most controlled by editorial and marketing. Well, I mean, that's, yeah.
I mean, look at his costume, the new costume he has with the glider.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, and Venkman makes a good point. If they killed Ben Grimm off on a side book instead of the FF, people would be pissed.
If they did kill Ben Grimm
off in the Fantastic Four just to have him brought back by editorial.
But he was
and Mark
killed
Waid.
in the Fantastic Four, not in a side book.
Yeah, it wasn't being. He wasn't killed in the Avengers. He was killed in Fantastic Four and brought back.
Ben Grimm was killed off in the Runaways or something, and was surrounded by the Runaways, who didn't know who he was, and they were the ones all holding him. And it was done during Hanukkah, and then they published a book called Fallen Friend the Thing, and you have the Runaways front and center crying, and the Fantastic Four in the background looking like, kind of morose, and none of his family, and, don't have Alicia in it or something like that, then maybe this would be a little close to that, but still not the same level, because you have to come at it with the context of the fact that, like, Ben Grimm is one of many. I'm going to sound like such a social justice warrior, but, like, Ben Grimm is one of many, like, straight white male heroes. Kamala, how many other, Muslim teenage superheroes do we have in the Marvel universe?
Zero.
Exactly.
It's
no,
sure.
Thank you, Josh. Because apparently, me saying it, I just get written off as angry girl.
And that's the other thing too. Is that the discourse? I've talked about the discourse leading up to this, but the outrage in terms of what this meant and what this was is entirely justified. And I get that controversy creates cash. I talked about that last episode. Last review episode, but this is incredibly baffling on all fronts, And the thing is the story itself is a D at best for me. It's not a very good story. It's JR did do good work in terms of the drawing the book, but
I do like the art. Yeah,
Fettinger for a second. I was.
Romita Jr. did a great job drawing the issue. It's just it's not a really well written issue. The plot is nonsensical. This entire arc has been, when it comes to the Rabin elements, we learned that Paul is Rabin's son, which I
thought he'd be his brother.
Well, I mean, and it
raises the question though of like, who did Rabin get with?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I don't
probably
even know.
made up the child. Like,
yeah,
we're gonna find out Paul doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The kids disappear. So bullet points. The kids disappear. Paul's revealed to be Rabin's son. Peter gets punched by Paul because Peter's justifiably looking at Mary Jane going, this guy's the enemy. Why the f*** are you with him?
And the colors are off on those 2 pages, which is weird.
It's horrible and hilarious at the same time.
I don't know. The thing is like, that kind of baffles me just because like, I wonder if there was like a split in how the colorist got the pages or something, and maybe he forgot. Like,
I thought that was meant to be like flat indicative of that it was a flashback.
That's what I.
It is, but like, there's a point where like Peter's hoodie changes from red to blue, and Mary Jane's jacket changes from green to purple.
Yep.
And Paul's undershirt changes from white to like a yellowish color.
What about the theory that these were too hastily? What if these were two hastily redrawn pages with new dialogue to represent the new origin of who Paul is versus what they were planning on going with?
I mean, I wouldn't. I don't think it's that complicated. That's a little conspiratorial. I
feel like
I've seen people that have speculated that
they have changed the clone conspiracy.
That they changed some of the stuff at the 11th hour when it came to Paul and MJ and how everybody's reacted. Who knows? I mean, obviously we'll find out.
I don't think they would have. Like, why would they have? That's like, no offense, but that's like the least controversial thing about all this.
It really is. Nobody like.
I know.
People that are upset about Mary Jane having someone else other than Peter aren't really the people Marvel's listening to, because they don't come off as the most articulate. Like, they're not creating a conversation. They're just screaming to scream because they want a trophy. Which, if anything,
all haven't seen the Spideydude.
Editorial has been doing is they made Felicia the trophy.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically that's. I mean, they're not writing. Look, they're not writing female characters in a way. And Kelly, you can speak more to this. They're not writing female characters in a way that is 3-dimensional. They're writing them as purely 2-dimensional characters. And even like, again, with all of this bullshit, Peter's not driving this book.
No. And
he is a passenger to the plot. And when you have your main effing character as a passenger to the plot, I'm sorry, like I had said, I think the last couple episodes that the ending was going to probably color my overall thoughts on this arc. And to be honest, this is a wet fart in church. I mean, it is bad.
Can I just say, like,
go ahead,
because I think it's a good segue to what I want to say about the arc as a whole. I think, like, if this arc was planned better and edited better, it would be way more of a decent story than it is. But it's just, with all the interviews and stuff that you read, and it's like, well, this was like, I'm experimenting with doing this and I don't know where it's going to go and I got to work backwards. And it's like, well, yeah, but I feel like if more thought was put into it, if the editor did a little bit of a better job in making stuff fit, and you told this over the first like 12 issues or so, instead of, you know, going back and forth and like kind of teasing us with stuff but not teasing us with anything. I think it would have been a lot better than it actually is, because it's just such a convoluted way to bring in drama into Peter's life and Mary Jane's life and splitting them up and, you know, blah blah blah, etc. I don't know. It just
so it brings the point of, if this had been the first arc, and we could move forward,
yeah, it would have been fine.
it would have sucked. I still would have been mad about the Kamala stuff, but at the same time,
I would hope. What I would hope is flesh out Peter and Kamala's relationship more. Actually, show them, you know, fighting crime together. Show her in the costume more, because we don't see her in the costume until like she follows Peter and Norman to the warehouse where they're like experimenting with the suit, and then we see her in costume in this issue, and that's it. Like, she just seems like such an afterthought in the series that, you know, it's like, okay, I that happened, you know, I don't know, like
it's not a bad idea, but I think that, like, no matter, even if Kamala had been like Peter's partner throughout this entire arc, it was never a good idea to kill Kamala Khan off in Amazing Spider-Man.
No.
And to not have her surrounded by her friends and family. Like, nothing could have fixed that. Like,
exactly.
Having her be by Peter's side every issue, it still would have felt hollow, because she needs to die, and if she's going to die, needs to die in her own book and be her own character and be surrounded by her people.
Like I said, man, the mini series, Death of Miss Marvel, and you have it be like 4, 5, 6 issues. You have it be a big event, and then it's like boom.
Make it an an event comic that, you know, could draw eyeballs in, instead of using her as a basically she got fridged. I mean, we've heard people, I'm sure, have heard the term fridging.
Yes, and this is as textbook can get a fridging.
Yeah,
this was a fridging to not even sell a 25th issue. It's to sell the 26th issue of Amazing Spider-Man. Why?
What's the legacy number?
Like,
it's not 920. This is the same month that of the when Gwen died. That's really it. It's same cover month.
Oh God. So again,
somebody did a fan art thing of like the Kyle Rayner seeing his girlfriend in the fridge, and it's Peter like checking on Kamala, and like in the background it's like Paul and Mary Jane like making out on the couch.
Oh my God, you just gave somebody some you know, is there a white cover for this issue? Because I think you just gave someone an idea for a white cover for a, you know, one of those sketches artists will do.
Oh
Jesus. No, they got the black
That's not
cover.
an idea, that was already made. Speaking of memes about this issue, sorry.
Yeah, I was about to segue to you, Kelly. So go ahead. So Kelly, I'm gonna actually download the
now me and Zach are like simpatico.
One of my favorite.
But yeah, no, the meme that was replied to Nick Lowe this morning, comparing this issue to Avengers 200, which, if you know what happens in Avengers 200, you'll realize that this issue is not quite that much off. And you know, just making the absolute worst way of removing a Miss Marvel from Marvel.
Oh.
Yeah. So okay,
if
we should probably explain the plot of 200.
Thing that happened to Carol Danvers. Guess again.
The worst that the Avengers have ever been written in the history of forever was that 200th issue. Until they fall in love with the sons of their captors.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's just like somebody read of it. Like, did they read Avengers 200 and was like, let's see if we can like fix it? Because that's the way it feels. And I'm just like, that's the wrong take to get from reading Avengers 200. Wells, like, he smoked. I mean, I guess I should not assume drugs were involved. However, It just feels like maybe he smoked a little too much.
He picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue.
It's probably more like marijuana.
Yeah, that's why I said smoke. Like,
you know, somebody brought up Avengers 200 to me the other day and said, "Hey, did that ever come back into continuity?" And I said, "You know, it's funny you mentioned that. You know, this movie coming one day called the Kang Dynasty. Well, let me explain to you. Once upon a time, in the Kang Dynasty's actual comic book storyline, yes, the Marcus plotline came back, and in the cover is Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers, staring at Marcus over a bunch of flames, and the Avengers are below. And it was part of this like Kurt Busiek 2-year-long storyline, which was the end of his run, I think, on the Avenger book after, you know, being on it since Heroes Reborn. And I was the Marcus crap from issue 200 did come back once.
So let me, for the audio listener, I'm going to describe the meme. It's two guys, you know, two strong guys, you know, grabbing and like grabbing hands, like in a
from Predator.
Yeah, from Predator.
It's the meme painting of the shot from Predator. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
So it says trapping women in alternate dimensions until they fall in love with the sons of their captors and writing off Miss Marvel in the most tasteless way possible. And on one side it's Avengers 200, and the other side it's Amazing Spider-Man 26, 2023.
I almost thought this was going to be the plot line of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The female tech whiz on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She got trapped in an alternate dimension with some Hydra person or something, and I was really worried that that's the plot line they were going to go with on S.H.I.E.L.D.
Disney has better sense. They wouldn't have put that on ABC. So...
It was still being run by Joss Whedon.
This is true. But ABC
that was
would tell him no. So
yeah,
you know, there's actual like checks and balances there where people actually care about the product and the quality control that comes out.
Again, to me, the cynical part, and going back a little bit to what Chris said, apparently somebody leaked like them drawing the issue with bringing back Kamala has already been put up on was put up on Instagram.
Wait, what?
So
that just
supposedly,
yeah,
I think an artist is there was an artist posted was something they were working on, and it involved Kamala.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the one of the things I read about the House of X falling is that it's going to be one last final resurrection. Everyone's going to have a chance to be alive again, and then if you die afterwards, you're permanently dead. But when the House of X storyline ends, everyone's going to be brought back. That can be brought back, kind of like the Brightest Day storyline, if you remember that, at the end of Blackest Night. Yeah. And this is how they'll bring her back.
Yeah,
very quickly.
Just jumping through the comments, because we got a lot of comments right quick. Eric Porter was telling me not to explain the plot of 200.
No, do it. No, seriously, do it.
So this is me going off memory. So
when a man loves his mother.
No.
Yeah. So
actually,
apparently,
go to Bob Chipman's YouTube page. He explains it in great 2 video details.
So it was Carol meeting this otherworldly figure, falling in love, and he impregnates her.
No, she didn't really fall in love with him.
She was manipulated into falling in love with him.
There you go.
And ends up getting pregnant and having a baby, and it ends up being the person she fell in love with. Like,
can I just say it? Can I just say it?
Yes, go ahead, please, because you'll probably say it better.
She was manipulated and raped.
Yeah. That's why nobody likes to bring it up.
And the Avengers make light of her pregnancy. They're like, she's like horrified. She's like, guys, I'm pregnant from this, and the Beast is like, hooray! I'll be your teddy bear.
The only character in that book that's not written that way is Captain America.
One of the others
is
like, I'll build
the entire
your
time going, I don't think this is right.
Yeah. What were you saying, Josh?
Josh, I would like to hear you.
Oh, no, I was saying that, like, the Avengers, they were all, like, reacting very inappropriately when she, like, revealed the pregnancy. Like, Beast is like, I'll be your teddy bear. And, like, Carol's clearly distressed. And they're like, I'll build you a crib, to the point where the next issue that Carol sees the Avengers after this storyline, she directly quotes everything that they said and like throws it back in their faces. She's like, I was obviously being brainwashed and manipulated, and none of you all cared.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't remember what was the backstory in terms of what was going on at the time of it was being written, but to have that, especially in a centennial issue, is just, yeah.
It was the Bronze Age, and quite frankly, Marvel was a boys' club. There wasn't a lot of diverse voices to speak up and give that alternate point of view. So stuff like this was able to be written. Maybe the writers had good intentions, but like, that's why you need to have diverse voices in the room, because somebody with another point of view and perspective can point out something like this and say, maybe we should have published
and history
this.
is now repeating itself in a way. Like, yeah, it's a little bit better, but is it like this is still really bad, really, really, really bad, and it's like Marvel didn't learn their lesson, or ultimately
did Shooter write 200?
Shooter, it was Shooter.
Okay,
not his finest moment.
It was Chris Claremont that wrote the issue where Carol like tells them all about it afterwards, which was the first appearance of Rogue.
Yeah,
well, because Claremont was so angry at 200.
Yeah, it had like 4 writers on it.
And now I'm recalling, if you've read Marvel: The Untold Story, they have a whole section to this, because this was like the beginning of the feud between Shooter and Claremont.
And did you ever hear about that David Michelinie wanted this to be, and I'm pulling this from something, and I heard about Michelinie saying this before, that they originally intended it to be a Kree-Skrull hybrid impregnation, kind of like Alien in some way, because Alien was popular.
All right.
Wow.
No, I've never heard that before, so like I'm a little confused by that. If you have sources, I would like to know more.
So, Radiac, he said one of the things that irked him about the plot wasn't that MJ is supposed to be specifically marked by Rabin precisely to not lose her, and didn't take note that the one who killed. Like, listen, in terms of plot, trying to understand this plot is.
There is no plot.
There's no plot.
Yes.
It was just a convoluted way to split them up.
Yeah.
Because if the kids were supposed to like help him track down Mary Jane, then why did it take him like those 4 years?
It took him 6 months to a year to track down Mary Jane.
But when they were in the dimension for 4 years, Paul and Mary Jane were having like family time with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said that they said, "Oh, the Scribble Man hasn't been here in a long time. We've forgotten about him."
Yeah.
Oh. That's
my God.
Oh no, I didn't even think of
yeah.
Oh God. So for those that are listening to the audio, Greg leaves a comment, says, Rabin, wait, the character who killed a Muslim character is named after an assassinated Prime Minister of Israel. Oh Jesus. Okay.
Again, there's, like I said, it's like they keep digging the hole deeper, and the more and more you think about it, the worse it gets. And the issue that I like, honestly, like truly, I'm trying my best to stay as straight, like, and calm and chill and cool about it, and really try to see all sides. And I can't see any other way than if they didn't realize exactly what they were doing. They are stupid and entirely way too privileged to be writing a book that goes to a very diverse set of fans.
You know, there's been a common question that has been asked, and I've seen it, is who is this written for?
Themselves, the circle jerk.
The audience is the editorial department. I mean, I don't look. I know that they're going to look. I guarantee you, Nick Lowe is going to pull every one of the most popular, or one of the most any of the most positive letters in the letters page, and he's going to use that as because that's what.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So you know who's going to be writing in celebrating this, right? The
Oh,
kind
boy.
of crowd, the comic skaters.
I know.
Is that really who they want to highlight?
I mean, look, when you have Comicsgate celebrate, listen, everybody knows me and knows, well, Chris not as much, but like the other three, you guys know how I am. I'm probably the most conservative person you'll meet. I can't stand Comicsgate. I hate Comicsgate. The fact that they were celebrating the death of Kamala Khan highlights to me, among many other things, just it's another brick in the wall of I don't want to be involved with those people. And you're right, Kelly. There's going to be people that are from Comicsgate. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is great. I love this story." Listen, I'm not saying that there isn't anybody that loves this story, but I have not seen anybody that has said, "Man, this was a good story," because it's not a good story. This is not a story.
I did this morning, and they backtracked.
I didn't. But my point is this is not a story, and I'm going to use an old. Josh knows exactly what I'm referencing here. This is not a story. This was an agenda masquerading as a story. And I'm quoting our mutual friend Kevin, who was talking about Omit, and this is probably one of the worst issues since Omit. I would put that up there. And everybody talks about One More Day, but Omit was just as bad, if not worse, because it was them doubling down on One More Day.
Or Spider-Man Reign.
Well, that's an Elseworld, though.
Yeah, but that still was disgusting what you found out what happened to MJ.
Well, yeah, it was disgusting, but like we're talking. So the issue at hand is we're talking about 616. Yes, Reign is bad.
Yeah.
But in terms of other things that have happened like within the last 20 years to Spider-Man, which I think ultimately is one of these last 2 decades have, to me, just don't have like there's certain stories and certain writers that do bring their best.
Mm-hmm.
However, ultimately, due to certain ideas that get forced down the line, because of course, they don't want to say mandated. The last 2 decades to me are not great. I think we've lost our way. We've lost who these characters are, even though the blueprint is right there. Literally, it's on an app. You can pull it up. Everyone can read the past issues and what created these characters and made them who they are. But we haven't been told a character-driven story in so long that I don't know if anybody working in Marvel editorial even knows what to do beyond just.
Well, and it feels like, and look, I mean, I know that there's been some speculation about it. Greg made a point about it being micromanaged, and but if it was so micromanaged, then some of the stuff that Slott did probably wouldn't have happened if it's micromanaged. Joshua brought a question: is Comicsgate really celebrating this? I think most of them don't care about Kamala. No, Josh, they are.
They're celebrating.
Ethan Van Scriver on Twitter wrote a celebratory tweet the day that everything leaked, and so if he's out there celebrating, the rest of that unfortunate crowd is right there with him. I'm going to leave it at that because I could take it to another level.
We saw the people that were hounding me.
People are
she's going to come back, and you should be happy because she's the worst character of all time. I mean, we saw them. They were celebrating.
Who said that she's the worst character? Isn't she like Marvel's most profitable new character in years?
But Comicsgate says any woman that gets her own title, like any female character who gets her own title, is a diversity. Like it's just a diversity idea. It doesn't mean anything. People don't really want it, which is a large amount of BS.
Right, because
Because they're Nazis and they're racist. So
Yeah,
and sexist.
yeah.
But
'cause
now,
Nazi.
I want to ask, who is the worst Marvel character?
Oh,
D-Man.
I mean,
Slide.
no, it's got to be someone that's like done something like really despicable.
so on one hand, there is a kind of silver lining to this. Now,
But Spider-Man Twitter's probably answering, Paul's the worst character.
No, we love Paul. Paul is great until he's not. But
listen, Paul's
I don't
great
think
for
Paul's
memes.
worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Paul joke's it's getting kind of old for me.
The
But
guy who couldn't pay Peter in just cash when Peter got handed a check, and they said, "Well, you have to unmask in order to cash the check."
actually, yeah, Yeah, there you go. Well, but
Because
that guy was
There were
covering his
plenty of
ass.
entertainers. There were plenty of
Greg.
entertainers in the '60s being paid under the table. Peter could have gotten paid in cash, and all his problems would be fine.
Well, listen,
Well, Uncle Ben still would have died. Or wait, no, it was Aunt
We
May
got-
who
we
died.
got-
I think in that what if.
we're getting answers in the comments. Eric Porter says Super Pro,
Super
Dr.
Pro.
Doom, Marvel themselves. That's
Whoa.
If this
Who
was
said Dr.
2011, I would have said Betty Brands.
Yeah, see, Radiac gets it. Leave D-Man out of this.
Okay, whoever just said Dr. Doom, Dr. Doom is Marvel's probably greatest villain ever, and I
No,
always
what
think
he's
Dr. Doom
saying
is one of
is
the
that
greatest comic book villains ever.
No,
That
what
must mean
he's saying is
he's the worst.
but he's also
Dr.
the worst.
Droom.
Oh, Drew.
Oh, Droom, not Doom. Droom.
Oh,
I read it as Doom. Oh man, sorry, Greg. But listen. I oh god, Radiac brought up Skip. Why do you got to bring up Skip? Nobody
oh
needs to
my
talk about
God.
Skip.
Oh God. Okay. Okay. We have a winner.
That's
We
it.
have a winner.
I like how no one's saying Rec Rap. Have we redeemed Rec Rap?
I'm the champion. I
my God.
only
Rec-
sing his
Rec
praises
Rap-
on
Rec
this,
Rap on Twitter
on
is
this show.
listen. Rec Rap on Twitter is a national treasure. So we just
See,
need
I'm
to-
more
That's just 'cause
about
we know
Rec
the
Rap
man
than
behind
Paul.
the mask.
Rec Rap is legitimately like one of the most popular articles I ever wrote. It was like on
Good.
like the top thing of the website. I don't know, but people liked Rec Rap a lot.
It
My
means-
editor emailed me about it. He's like, "Oh, we need more articles like this. People really like this Rec Rap stuff."
We need more articles of Rec Rap.
Yeah, with
He
this
should be
two-
like he should be the guy who answers the letters page if they ever get around to printing those again.
What I like about that character is just like it's just total nonsense, and what I like that people are just like gravitating to total nonsense and a good joke. You know, it's like it's not supposed to be serious at all. So maybe there is hope for the Spider-Man fandom after all, that they're embracing this goofy joke of a character. That means they can still have fun and yeah.
Imagine if instead of Kamala dying, it's like Peter holding Rec Rap. Like,
Oh my God! Can
I
some
did it
please
to be
anyone
like you.
that would have
artists-
made more story sense.
artists
That would have
watching
made more
this,
story sense.
go anywhere
Like-
and put it out there and say, hey, someone draw this, please.
I did it to be
Like,
like you.
Oh my god, this entire that we are writing better stories just based off of this bullshit than actually what was published on the page. The stuff that we are just shooting off the hip is better than what we fucking got here.
All we had to do was not kill a minority in someone else's book.
Don't kill a young person of color girl. Oh my God.
Well,
How-
this also brings up another point.
That's such a hard thing, to do. Like, I guess every Marvel writer totally just thinks that that's a normal thing that happens.
That's like the trifecta
Even
too.
like the god that Rabin worships was like not cool with this. He's like, whoa! I want you to kill the white woman. Like,
Yeah.
you killed Kamala. Like, for those of you who didn't read the issue, like, because he kills Kamala, like the god Wyatt or whatever, he like disintegrates like Rabin. He's like, nah, man, you killed the wrong girl. This shit ain't cool with me.
You done
Like,
messed up again,
Also,
Ron.
too, like the coolest part of this entire issue is when Reed and Norman defeat a like Mayan temple god with math.
Yeah.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah. See that Peter doesn't really
You
do
got
a lot
Norman
in
on.
this.
Okay.
No, Peter does nothing. Haven't you
He just
learned
runs
what does
around.
Peter do? Nothing. That's what Peter
What did
does.
Peter do? Absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did do some
Pe-
stuff,
Pe-
but
Peter again.
I understand the point.
Listen, the fact that we can actually utter a phrase, Norman Osborn and Reed Richards work together to kill a person or
A Mayan
a being
god.
with math, a Mayan
Neil
god
says,
with math.
Neil has said that it's like Quetzalcoatl. That it,
Yeah.
well, that it like looks like that at least.
There's this old quote from, I think, a science fiction movie. It might be a new one that's doing a retro thing that says, I'm going to do science to it. And that's what they did. I did math to it.
Yep.
Which is basically what Peter does to solve a problem involving scientific stuff. He does science to it.
I mean,
But literally,
if Don were here, he'd probably be yelling,
Peter could have been right there. Peter could have been right there and used his brain, used his IQ level to resolve it, but he wasn't there.
I did some double checking.
That was what I liked.
Why is Peter having? Why is Peter?
That is
being
what I
bailed out
liked.
once again.
That is what I liked about when he was in the other dimension. He was, going toe to toe with Paul Rabin, with their scientific knowledge. I like that a lot.
Conquer the universe with math. Greg makes a point.
Again,
Dark can conquer
there was
the universe with math.
this
true.
arc. I mean, yeah, okay, yes, Greg. Technically, Darkseid can conquer the universe with an equation. I understand your reference. Good job, Greg.
No.
Okay. Do we really want to bring up the slot?
Well,
No,
I'm considering after I read this issue, it made me extra thankful for Spider-Man 8, and then I hated myself because I love Spider-Man 8 because of how much Peter drives the story, and look, Slot's not perfect, but at least he understands the assignment when you write a book titled Spider-Man.
And Miles is driving his book tremendously. Those first 5 issues of the new book have been amazing. No pun intended. I was like, wow, this has been spectacular. No pun intended.
because he doesn't have. Honestly, I feel like that he's not. The thing about Slot's, at least run on this adjective of Spider-Man, is that I don't think that there's the pressure that comes with Amazing. And
yeah,
I think that, and I think also taking some time away to recharge the batteries probably was a good thing. I mean, he'd been writing Spider-Man for so long and everything. I just think that maybe he, who knows. But Pinkman brings up the part, quote, the only part of this blanking issue that he liked, quote unquote, was the bit with where Reed and Norman defeat the monster with math, and that's because they were actually acting in character. Not wrong. So, Comic Binge, what's up, Paul? Who hadn't hadn't read the issue yet, but listen, I
Slot praise, yeah.
I think this is directed at me, and yes, I will give people flowers when they deserve their flowers.
When they don't deserve their flowers,
just don't kill minorities in books that don't belong to them.
Miles doesn't have
very low bar.
Miles is about to have the baggage. This is Universe returning. Did that Ultimate Universe issue come out this week too?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Which one?
The one where the evil Reed Richards wants to sacrifice Miles Morales to bring back the Ultimate Universe.
No, not yet.
Okay. Can you believe
that? One of my jobs is to read every single Marvel book every week.
Yeah, that comic book is going to be $8 a week.
So Marvel rode the hype from all kinds of from all the kids being inspired by the Black Panther movie, they turned around and killed Kamal in the grossest way possible. Says a lot about their priorities. Yes.
Yep.
Nick Spencer over Zeb Wells any day.
Yeah, I would take
agree.
Put that up,
I
but
agree.
fair, yeah.
Eric Porter says Zach Spider-Man is so bad that Zach is defending Slott. Listen, I don't hate Slott. We're gonna God. Okay, I disagree with that comic bench.
Oh yeah, no,
All right,
totally.
we'll talk about it later.
FYI, this is one of the best Fantastic Four stories I had read in a long time. His run on FF. He did the one thing that made me so damn happy. He married Alicia and Ben finally. I was so happy.
Raise your hand if Slott has done something bad to one of your favorite characters.
Josh has asked this question, I think, at least 3 times. So, who's worse,
Oh,
Rick Rapp or Rabin?
Rabin.
It's Rabin. Like it's both of them.
The
They're
one
gotta
that
be
killed the
both worse.
Muslim teenager.
Well, I guess Paul isn't so bad because he's barely a character, but
Rick Rapp's underbaked. I mean, or overbaked, if you know the way he looks. But
Man, Rick Rapp just wants to have fun. You know?
Yeah.
dude.
dude,
Raps just wanna have fun.
somebody made a cosplay of Rick Rapp, and that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle looking son of a bitch was creepy as hell.
The teeth.
Impressive.
Those teeth. Oh my god.
Teeth, man. It looked like. Listen, I love TMNT as a kid, but like that was the Rick Rapp thing was nightmare inducing.
I wouldn't want to see that waking up at like 3 a.m. at the foot of my bed, you know.
So, but I do want a GOG Rec Rap buddy comedy.
Sure.
Oh.
Justice for Gog, who's just been forgotten.
Oh, Comic Binge says at Slots FF, boo. I'm like, no, boo on you again. He married Ben and Alicia finally.
Okay.
freaking
Yeah,
power
all right.
couple
One of
since
my
the 60s.
favorite
All right.
characters in Marvel is Elijah. I did not like the way that Slott treated
Oh
her
no.
in the FF run.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say that there was no redeeming qualities in the run, but like, the Elijah stuff hurt me. The characters like all derisively called her Laser Fist, which I was like, okay, you got that on Wikipedia because like that was like her character name for like 5 seconds in the 90s. It never caught on beyond the trading cards.
Yeah.
She doesn't even have the Laser Fist characters like powers anymore. Like,
Hey boys, I appreciate the Fantastic Four commentary, but we're gonna try and get back on track.
Yeah.
do we have
Thanks,
to?
Kelly. I was about to
Spider-Man was in the Fantastic Four once. This is important.
Well, the Fantastic Four were in this issue, but I mean,
Yeah, there you go.
It's technically relevant.
So
I mean,
Justin
unless we're gonna
Shields
talk
brings up
about
a
Johnny's mustache, I don't really want to talk about
that mustache.
Okay, I'm sorry.
so Justin Bill says, scary fact, Zeb Wells wrote part of the Marvels movie. I think he wrote the first draft. I don't think he wrote
He co-wrote the first draft.
He has a credit. He has a writing credit. There's 2 other people who also wrote the movie.
Yeah.
So again, and now, yeah.
I mean, Rabbit was an ineffective villain. When
And
he
Josh
fought
brings up
Wolverine.
Josh Nelson brings up a good point. He says, I mentioned this. I'm really stunned by how ineffective a villain Rabbit ended up being. Zeb Wells didn't even try to make him even remotely threatening or interesting. He's not. I mean, again, he was a means to an end that they basically were like, okay, we're going to do this flash of light, and then we're going to bring back a plot point from 2008. I mean, nobody gave a shit about that.
Yeah.
This is
No,
about
agreed.
15 years ago.
We get look.
Yeah.
I gave Wells. I liked that arc because that was like probably my favorite arc of the first 4, right? But that didn't mean I wanted to see this shit again.
That was good.
Like I did.
Wasn't that the same time as that?
You remember the old advertisements? Because you demanded it. Nobody demanded to see the fucking Mayan god from that story.
But see, this is my thing.
Hey, look, Josh. Tony,
Okay, but this is my thing. Is you know how they were like, oh yeah, we have the beginning, middle, and end. You're just gonna have to trust us. You can't tell me that this story wasn't written by like the seat of their pants. Like, and I think everyone's giving them way too much credit when they're like, "Oh no, this was last minute rewrites." I don't think so. I'm fairly certain no one was thinking at all.
It definitely does feel like I believe him when he says like, well, I had I had this and now I have to work back to it. Like it does kind of feel like that. And I would, to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, I think it's the best we were going to get with that information in mind, that he didn't have the lead up, but he had the end game. But
So,
like I said
the end game
before,
was to kill Kamala, which shows some deep-seated hatred about whatever he wrote in the Marvels.
I don't agree with that at all. Like that's totally, like that shouldn't have been here, because she was not developed. Even if she was developed, it would have been in this title. It's not good to do because because it's not her title. But I feel like I said, if this were more the first arc and it was actually properly developed and we had maybe a different death that wasn't Kamala, a lot of people were thinking maybe Norman would die and that would be like a full circle moment, some closure. But from the solicits, we had a feeling that he was going to be in the next arc based on covers. So it's like, well, could that have been a fake out or what? I don't know. But regardless, I feel like if they sat with this, if they actually edited this and did something else instead of having Kamala be the death, which is just Crazy Town Banana Pants. Maybe
Call back
that shit in a while.
Maybe we would be not as hard on it, even though it would still kind of be a difficult situation. I don't know.
The quotes leading up to this, it made it hard to imagine who it could be, because they said people are going to be really mad at me and I can't go to conventions for a while after
that. Means Mary Jane. Like, that would be Mary Jane.
Because that's not going to be Norman.
This is my thing. Now that comment makes sense, but it makes sense in like the absolute worst way, because then it goes, oh, you were aware of what you were doing and you realized that the optics were bad, but you did it anyway. And again, if there was a better way,
why nobody?
Sorry.
Why nobody?
And this goes without saying.
Why nobody from the editorial top down? Nobody had the wherewithal to go, guys, this is going to be optically, this is not going to end up well. Well, it's a means to an end. That's the mentality that they've been doing since 2007. That's the problem. If is that we're treating stories instead of telling good stories, we're doing agendas instead of stories. Oh, well, it's going to be a little messy to get there, but once we get there, it'll be fine. People just got to get over it. No, I'm sorry. I still have people in my Discord, and I know in other Discords, Kelly, you can verify this, that are still bitching about One More Day. Hell, I got people bitching about the freaking Clone Saga sometimes that I know, that we all know.
Can I use my analogy I like using for One More Day, which is at this point, because the thing is basically it opened a wound that never got healed properly. And so it's just sat and it festered and it festered and it festered. And them doubling down on it is basically them poking it with a stick and reopening the wound. And at this point, it's become infected. So good or bad, like regardless of like your feelings on it, you know that that's the main cause of the fandom's hurt. And it needs to be resolved.
Yeah.
And they're never going to resolve it.
Yeah. It seemed heavily leaning, that Spencer was going to address it and offer some sort of resolution, but then we got what we got. So
and now
that doesn't mean that
a Muslim girl is dead.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that they were going to get remarried necessarily, because they don't necessarily have to get remarried. It doesn't seem like they want to get them remarried, even though that would be, sales would go, you want a big seller, you do that.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Listen, and look, on one hand, this also brings me to a point about, at least with this book, is that now that we've gotten past this stupid ass mystery box bullshit, okay,
can the run finally start?
Can we finally get off the freaking blocks? Because this run has been spinning its wheels for a fucking year because you decided to write yourself into a corner with this mystery box bullshit. And you writing yourself into a corner and then it ended up having a Muslim girl getting killed off. Why? For fucking literal reasons. And look, I know I'm cussing a lot tonight, and I'll put a freaking disclaimer on the in the description
let the hate
on this
flow
episode.
through you, as everyone says to me when I get angry.
Listen, I know Vickman's going to be in the comments going rip and tear and rip, because he likes to hear me do this.
Who's the writer after this?
And look, I don't listen. For the most part, I like keeping this show pretty even keeled and pretty positive. That has been something that I feel like we've done a pretty good job about over the course of the run. But this is one of the episodes that I can't give anything its flowers.
There are no flowers. This is,
and
I like the art. That's all.
Because there's no flowers to give. I can't bring any positivity other than the art. Greg wrote, the first person who counts Zach cusses on this show and his cusses on Clone Conspiracy episode gets a prize. Yeah, because I was pretty mad there. And look, Radiant brings a great point. He says, I'm with you, Adam. All this time, really since Beyond, was to set up the stage for a new beginning. Now that they have done so, what are they actually going to do? And look, I understand Death and Sanity, that Paul's still in the story. You know, we'll see what the resolution is with Paul after this.
He might be the new villain.
One that has given up. Like, I literally don't even care about Paul until Paul shows something interesting. I don't care.
The only thing is that he could come back as like the final villain of the arc.
Oh, like that's totally what they're setting up.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's exactly what they're setting up.
Gross.
I mean, and look.
No, wait. You mean they're not going to set him up as Mr. Marvel?
I know. That's sad. I'd actually enjoy that more somehow.
Anybody that thinks that Paul is going to survive beyond Zeb Wells' run.
Oh no.
I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you.
It's like, remember Pedro Olivares?
Yeah, I remember that guy.
Do you remember the first time like they kind of killed Mary Jane, but she was actually kidnapped by somebody? Who was that character again?
Nobody.
The stalker. He was
in what, 2 issues?
Yeah, it was just before J. Michael Straczynski took over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But listen, Joshua goes, "Hey, the next issue is going to feature a dog out," which look, I'm interested in. Like,
I'm looking forward to Ed McGuinness's art in the next arc.
You know,
what I'll say about that.
The Paul and Mary Jane thing. There is an interesting story to tell here, because a lot of times when you're in a relationship with someone and you have a child together, the loss of that child, a lot of times the relationship doesn't survive.
Oh, hey, like what they tried to do in the 90s?
Right.
And Paul and Mary Jane, they didn't get together until after they had the children. So like, it's never been just the two of them as a couple, like, because I got the implication reading that issue that they were kind of just like, platonic survivors, and then when the kids came along, that was when they became the family unit. So like, how do you rebuild after that family? And then Mary Jane now has to grieve these kids that apparently were never real, which, there's a story to tell there. Do I trust them to tell it in the amount of space that they have?
No,
not necessarily, because you only have so much real estate. If the book was about Mary Jane, then yes, but like you only have so much real estate in a book called Amazing Spider-Man to devote to like Mary Jane and Paul going to like couples therapy or something like that. It would be interesting if like
and that's
Peter hooked her up with Wanda and they to like kind of like talk about this, because that's kind of Wanda's setup in her book. She has this doorway that like when you're at the end of your rope, like the doorway that Wanda's like shop opens and she'll like help you like with your emotional shit.
Good job, Vinkman, bringing back an old Bertoni quote.
Yep.
The damn stalker from the Fern Run.
I don't even remember saying that, but that sounds like me.
I couldn't. The reason I brought it up is I couldn't remember if that was some type of mystical whatchamacallit mumbo jumbo stuff.
No, it was
waved away.
No, that was before any of that ever happened.
Well, the thing, and here's that.
He was never explained, because he had like teleporting powers or something, and like he could like psychically attune to Spider-Man.
He had some kind of superpower.
Yes. Yeah. He had a psychic connection with Peter. The whole and that whole thing was he wanted to become Peter. That's he ended up the whole reason he kidnapped Mary Jane was to try to become Peter. The whole thing was Byrne wrote the hatch on the plane falling out because editorial wanted to kill Mary Jane off. Byrne and Mackie didn't want to do it. Byrne drew that little nugget as a way out, and because in the in that story they're like, this is not a good idea. People are going to be mad, and that's why so many people were already getting riled up in the build up to this story, because all the story elements, all the plot was we're going to kill Mary Jane off, and then they pull this last second switcheroo to shock you. And the thing is that the shock comes out 2 weeks beforehand. My thought this is purely speculative. I don't have any, this is just my thought looking at how the optics looked. Somebody at Entertainment Weekly or somebody at Penguin Press took a peek, took a pic, put it on the internet, and that forced the hand. And the reason why I say Entertainment Weekly is because Entertainment Weekly is, every time they've done a big death, go back and look, Miles, like when they killed Peter Parker off, when they killed Captain America, Entertainment Weekly got the exclusive every time.
But they don't, I don't believe they got a physical copy.
No, they probably got the scans. I don't think they got a physical copy. If it was Penguin Press, then it would.
Saying. The leak
was a physical copy.
The leak was a physical copy.
Yeah.
So
this
is my thing. It came from the printer. I'm almost positive whoever this is my theory on it. Is they had their, like, whatever they want to call their little like print master, who got the copy, like got one of the test copy, and was taking photos for quality control and approving it and sent it back to someone at Marvel. And whoever got those photos was angry and leaked it. Hope I'm wrong,
completely
because I'm hoping no one's listening and then like can figure out who it is. Because I think that they were in the right here, ultimately.
I mean, ultimately,
this was bad. Come on.
This is optically it's not good, and but at the same time you're going to have the bean counters at Marvel going, well, business is good, because like the point that Chris made, you got people that are increasing their order count because of the way the order count is. I can say this: it is an entirely different world now. It seems like we're getting more and more leaks since Penguin Press took over. There's a lot of problems with Diamond, but you didn't there. It was very rare when you got a leak when Diamond was doing the distribution. The most notable one obviously being the 698 leak, but that was the full issue. I mean, this was just piecemealed out.
Well, you also know that it was piecemealed out to a podcast or a YouTube show.
It was?
Like, this was given to someone to post on their YouTube show that only had maybe a few hundred subscribers. So it was small like us. And
why would you give that to a small show on YouTube that doesn't
because
have
they
really
knew them.
followers?
They knew them.
Yeah, that I could see that. Sure.
And so,
'Cause they were
I mean, that's what happened. And so, and then everybody took the screenshot of what they saw, which was a picture of like a cheap cell phone picture. And that's how this spread like wildfire, because it started getting posted on Reddit, which I love how Spider-Man Reddit now just does not care.
Oh,
They've given up.
I was just reading some of the stuff right now of the upcoming issue 27, and I thought it was kind of it was baffling.
My thing is so okay, so in Spider-Man 8, if anybody hasn't read it, like adjectiveless Spider-Man 8, he loses a person he just completely could not save in a burning fire. And so he has this stress stream where Uncle Ben and Aunt May, are basically blaming him for that man's death, which is very Peter. I would not be shocked if we got some bastardized version of that, but the creative team behind Amazing Spider-Man does not have a soul. And this is how I'm just going to say that, because I don't know how else to explain this. It's going to literally be like if an alien was trying to show you that they have compassion. Like, I feel like it's going to come off very disingenuous, and it's going to be a horrible version of what was in Spider-Man 8 with Kamala, based off of what we saw. And then, Doc Ock comes in and somehow is emotionally superior, because you notice how like they keep almost saying everyone is morally superior than Peter, because like even here, like where they had that with where Mary Jane's telling him that about Paul, which makes zero sense at all. Like, it was one of the most baffling lines in this issue, and this isn't the only issue that's happened in Wells's run.
Has there been any news about interviews coming up for this issue?
Nothing I can say.
I mean, nothing that I've heard or anything like that. I'm with my ear to the ground. I mean, look, predictions. Obviously, I know Paul's not here, and he says his prediction will Paul will lose MJ to Peter willingly, and not because of him being bad or something. It'll be because she straight up doesn't love him like Peter and never will.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I would love to think that way.
No. That's what's going to happen, and then Paul's going to come back and be, scorned X terribleness.
He's going to be Schism 2.
Yes. Well,
Rabin 2 Electric Boogaloo. I mean,
Or he'll get a
nobody who
symbiote
asked for this.
because everyone has a symbiote today.
Paul reminds me of Carly Cooper and that
Liz Allen symbiote. I mean,
oh wait.
Go ahead.
Josh, did you hear my stupid fan canon of putting Paul on the MC2, where he meets Carly Cooper and he wants to like date her so bad, but she won't.
That's fun.
because hang on, Carly Cooper has appeared in the MC2 because she appeared in the Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
yeah.
Her the job.
Her and Vin Gonzalez and the Mr. and Mrs. Spider-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. But Paul reminds me of Carly Cooper in that, like, Carly Cooper never stood a chance with the fans because everyone was always going to hate whoever the first girl Peter got serious after Mary Jane was. And
especially
Paul
with it being a new character that was not a previously established character.
And Paul is more or less the first guy that Mary Jane has been serious with since Peter. Like, nobody cares about Bobby Carr or remembers Bobby Carr. Like,
who cares?
Or Pedro.
was that the firefighter she dated?
No, Pedro Ollie Olivares.
Ah.
The firefighter?
Yes.
Yes. He was the firefighter.
Nobody, like, Paul, because she's actually serious with Paul and because there's been, like, strife there, like, a lot of the hatred is just people want Paul and Mary Jane to be together, and they're angry at him, just like people wanted Peter and Mary Jane to be together, so they were angry at Carly Cooper. And I'm not going to name names. I've seen some bad takes on Twitter. This one guy, like, was comparing, like, Paul and Mary Jane's relationship to like her abusive and loveless marriage that her parents had, and I'm like,
well, I've seen a lot of
it.
that. I saw actually a lot of that today, and her sister.
It's a weird take of like, you read this issue and that's what you picked. Like, that's how, you know what I mean? It's like taking 2 plus 2 equals 11. Those people clearly could have not won the math battle with the
That's a good point.
This is one of my new favorite
All right.
insults. Wouldn't have won the math battle.
Yeah.
Was there any backlash back in the 80s or 70s whenever Black Cat was created to replace Mary Jane as like, hey, this is the new Spider girlfriend who's like a cat burglar and she's like Catwoman, because Mary Jane had been written out. Like,
Well, I mean, at that point,
There was no internet.
the thing.
no,
Yeah.
I know there was no internet, but there were like
There was no internet,
fanzines.
one.
There
Number
were
two-
still articles being written.
I don't think that
here's
we
the
got that backlash, but that's because Felicia actually still came off as a full fleshed out person. And she really only, like, let's be fair, the defining characteristic of Felicia is she wants to have fun. She's not going to stick around for anything too serious. And I'm not saying she can't be, because she can. We've seen it. She's got, she's become an amazing character. But you knew from the beginning she wasn't going to last. Like, she was just there because Peter and MJ were broken up.
Yeah. And
the transition from Felicia from Mary Jane to Felicia wasn't that abrupt. Like,
Yeah.
Felicia had a few small arcs, and the fans liked her a lot, and then she became a regular character in Spectacular Spider-Man, and the relationship became semi-permanent then, because otherwise she would only show up for like 2 issues at a time, and she was always like disappearing.
Yeah.
And during that time, Mary Jane and Peter, they had like a long breakup from like ASM 183 to like 193, and
She
during
was out
that
of the
time Peter
book.
was all.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Felicia. Peter was like playing the field after Mary Jane. He had a brief thing with Betty that blew up in his face. There was Deborah Whitman.
Right.
Him
Deborah
and Marcy
Whitman.
Kane didn't date, but he kind of liked her. There was like some stuff there. Sissy Ironwood. So
Sissy Ironwood was in like 2 issues of Marvel Team Up or something.
And he went on a date with Gloria Grant to the circus where they found the Ghost Spider under Ringmaster's control, I think.
Yeah, in fact, like Peter and Betty like break up.
Well,
in
Sissy
Felicia's
Ironwood
second appearance
Uh-huh.
in a storyline where Peter's friends are like really like.
So this is. By the way, this is why I bring Josh on, because he's like the Spider Yoda.
I appreciate
like
having
the fact that you
someone
just-
I trust. Like, I know Josh is going to actually speak the truth and not just like pop off. So
Jonathan Caesar 2.0. Wow.
Yeah.
Donovan said to me, "Wouldn't it be hilarious if Paul was like Jonathan Caesar with like plastic surgery?"
Oh my god.
Of course.
How
I don't
wide?
think so. Unfortunately, I really do. Like, this is Paul. I don't think exists. I think Paul exists like the children exist. So when the spirit of whatever decides it's done with Paul will be poofed.
God, yeah, I hope
Or somebody comes in and it's all Mephisto once again.
Paul's going to be
God,
knocked
can we
out.
just like stop with Mephisto? Like,
Yeah,
but
it's not Mephisto. It's kind of like, so I make the joke, like, with MCU, when everyone was so excited for the mutants, to come in, it's like, it's not going to be mutants. Stop trying to make mutants happen. Like, it's not going to be Mephisto. Stop trying to make Mephisto happen. We're
Stop
never
trying to
going
make Fletch happen.
like.
well,
no.
that was like with WandaVision. Everyone was like, "Oh, Mephisto's just around the corner." Weren't they saying that? And it's like, nope.
I remember
fairness-
that. It was
in
every
fairness,
episode.
okay, in fairness, there was
Like,
enough Easter eggs for Mephisto in the background of every
Yeah.
single damn episode that it made sense.
Who's the current Mephisto actor everyone thinks is going to be appearing?
Sissy Ironwood is the actor.
I don't
played
keep
the
Mephisto.
guy. What's the guy? The Borat actor.
Oh, Sacha Baron
That's
Cohen.
Cosmo. She's the voice of Cosmo.
Sasha Baron Cohen.
Sacha Baron Cohen. Wait, Sacha Baron Cohen's the voice of Cosmo?
No,
no,
I
that's
thought you were talking
Borat.
about the daughter.
Yeah, the
Borat's
no,
daughter.
I meant the Borat
No,
actor,
no.
whatever. I couldn't think of his
Oh.
name. I heard that's been the newest rumor that he's going to be Mephisto, and I'm like,
No.
sure, why not?
I think if he's going to show up, he'll probably show up in the Angela Hargis series
House of
that's
Agatha.
coming on Disney Plus next year.
Agatha.
Yeah.
We had a whole season of
Agatha,
theories,
yeah.
Zach. Like, and now she's Angela. There was a whole song. It was like it went viral.
People
you see
forgot
the
about
preview?
that.
Dude, I forgot,
Okay. at least
man.
we didn't
There's
skip
been so
Erica.
much damn content. I forgot about Agatha all along.
You know
Did you
what?
see the,
You would not be able to do the math.
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
you see the
battle
previews with the it's Spider-Man versus Wolverine during that Agatha
Okay,
versus
so-
Scarlet Witch story?
So, all right.
Yeah, we need to get
I
back
already
on
know
topic.
the answer to this. Yeah. Because I'm just gonna go around. We'll wrap. I'm gonna give everybody give a grade. I already kind of know what the grade's gonna be,
God.
but just for
Jesus.
posterity.
Oh man.
So I'll start. This is an F. Not even Romita Jr.'s artwork can save this from being an F
That's what I said.
because of all the reasons we've talked about. Normally I would probably grade it like Greg did, a D-. The art is good. Normally. However, the optics, the execution, the controversy, there's certain times where it supersedes. And if you go back and look at the history of the network and certain divisive storylines, whether it's Clone Conspiracy or Scarlet Spider Unlimited #1, those type of really fucking maximum clonage as examples, like it's hard to look beyond these positives and say, okay, there's positives. Because the art, like I say, Romita Jr. brought his A game. Unfortunately, it was a shit story. So it can't get me. It can't go above the D-. It can't go beyond failing for me. So with that being said, Adam, you have a grade?
Oh no. I'll go C-, like Neil told us earlier. I'll be with Neil on this one. Yeah.
Josh, you have a grade?
Yeah, so if I was to divorce this from Kamala's death, like if Kamala's death is in a vacuum and everything else about the issue was separate, I would give it a C. Not good, not bad, just like mediocre issue. However, you cannot put Kamala's death in a vacuum. And because of all the bad stuff that we mentioned associated with it, which would be too long to recap here, because of all that, it unfortunately brings it down to F. I don't give that grade lightly, but man, there was a lot of bad ingredients that went into this soup that I wish they hadn't put in there.
Chris, you got a grade?
I mean, I agree. The art has just been kicking ass through this entire run. But yes, I'm going to go with all the other Fs, or WTF as a grade. What the fuck?
That's actually a good grade.
I will give the positive that I am so happy. The artwork is so amazing. It's just so goddamn frustrating when the story is not as good as the art.
Listen, I think Scott Hanna and being back and paired with Romita as opposed to Klaus Janson, whom I love with Romita in the 90s, but Hanna has helped elevate, and I think that Romita honestly, he really enjoys drawing Spider-Man. Kelly, your grade.
All right, so let's say I am a math teacher for the creative team. All of them, including the artwork. But we know that to me, this is not the best artwork. because some of the faces look more bored than in pain or upset.
That's fair.
But so let's say, and this is just for the whole creative team. If I was their math teacher and I received this, I would give it a 0 because it's almost as if a bunch of kids got stoned and handed in insults to the teacher and death, like a bomb threat to the school to get out of a math test.
Wow.
Then actually giving you anything of worth. And I would then also take the entire thing to the principal and ask them to give them a random drug test at the end of the day.
It almost feels
a 0. Like I'm not even giving it like an actual letter grade. It's a 0 for me.
Oof. It's almost as if they took the plot and threw it in ChatGPT, and then that's the script. And
actually,
ChatGPT has standards. If you ask it to do something like, I'm not kidding.
It's true.
If you tell ChatGPT to do something racist, it'll say, "I'm sorry, I can't do that."
Yeah.
If you type in ChatGPT,
Marvel needs to be more like ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They need to have some fucking guide rails.
Yeah.
Eric Porter says 2 Clone Saga Chronicles alumni say F. This is awful. Craig, we've had Donovan's Rage episode 33 of CSC. This is now Kelly's Rage.
Honestly, I've never recorded with Donovan, but I feel like we need to pick something where both of us are equally angry and just talk about it, because I wonder if it would get enough views just out of rage.
Probably.
Because rage views are a thing.
Yeah.
People think it's funny.
And look, like I say, there's a part of me that's going to turn the page when we get to 27, and I'm interested to see where we go, because God, this storyline has been amongst the worst we've seen in a while. Certainly since the worst elements of Slot. It's extraordinarily frustrating to have this, be the end of that arc. And so, like I say, here we are. Final thoughts. We'll wrap the episode up here with that. I mean, Kelly couldn't have put it any better. I mean, and the rest of the crew. First of all, thank you guys for coming. This was thrown together very last minute. I appreciate, Kelly, you coming in and bringing the perspective you do as a female comic fan, because
I was gonna be nice and just listen, but sorry, Chris, but you pissed me off.
I thought you were going to be on the show regardless.
Wait, what did I say?
You were very flippant.
It was kind of
Maul's death.
Oh, well, again, I thought I explained myself why, but
You did, and it made it seem like you don't give a crap that they killed off a person of color just for the heck of it. And maybe that's you.
Anyway.
You do you, but it's pretty anger-inducing on principle.
So at the end of the day, first of all, any nominations for what Don and Kelly should cover, leave it in the comments. Like I say, I knew that this was going to be an episode where obviously we're talking about a lot of sensitive things, and hopefully we turn the page on this, and the next time we record a review episode, it'll be something that we actually enjoy. Maybe not. Maybe this may be a stench that hangs over the title for a few months.
Years.
We'll see.
Decades.
Years, potentially. Look, it is extraordinarily frustrating that we that we had to go through this. To me, this was completely and wholly unnecessary. The entire arc, honestly, is completely and wholly unnecessary. And like I say, this is a finale. We're gonna turn the page. We'll get to season 4. We'll start anew. Couple of programming updates. I'm working on a interview with Sean O'Connell to talk about his book, because beforehand, when we talked about it last time, the book hadn't came out. I've since read it, and we'll talk about it, and I'll kind of give you guys my review. And we'll also be talking about maybe get some behind the scenes nuggets about the new movie. Our next episode, though, will be the review of Across the Spider-Verse, something that I'm looking forward to, and I know everybody here is looking forward to. If you guys want a poster like Chris talked about at the top of the episode, DM us on Facebook, and you guys and Chris has access to the Facebook admin side, so you guys can coordinate there. If you have any thoughts, you can always leave us a voicemail, 818-925-6631. Before we get out of here, I always got to thank our patrons. Yes. Yeah, he's got tickets for Saturday. I don't have tickets yet. I'm assuming I think we're going to do it on Friday, personally. Josh has already seen it, but thank you, Eric. You might have seen that on social media. Gabby turned 7 or turned 8. I just said 7. She turned 8 on Monday or Sunday. So it was, we're doing her birthday party this weekend. So I got a busy weekend. Also a programming note too. I was on the Spider-Man book club talking about the recent Edge of the Spider-Verse, not the one that's currently ongoing, but the one that came out last year and build up to the new Dan Slott book. Definitely check that out, because I kind of go into talk about inclusivity and stuff like that.
Remember?
Kelly was on for Volume 1. I was on for Volume 2. Yes, Kelly was on Volume 1. So check out Kelly's episode first, and then you can check mine out, because they're companion episodes in a lot of ways. I talk a lot about especially Sun Spider and why it's important. So a lot of the points that I make there can be definitely applied to Kamala too. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I knew this was going to be an episode that was slightly frustrating to record, because it's just, I hate being rage bait. I hate doing and giving that in. I try to bring a balance to our discussion and the discourse here on the show. But like I say, I know there's some people saying we did a great job, and hopefully we did. Thank you guys. Like I say, next episode, Across the Spider-Verse. And I know it's going to be something that I am going to really enjoy. So let's wrap the episode up here. Let me give a shout out to our patrons at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Patrons such as Allison, Cindy, Ed, Georgia, Greg, Janelle, Jessica, Catherine, Kale, Keegar, Laura, Howard, Master Drammon, Phoenician, Scott, Vanessa, and Vicky. Thank you guys for your support. We got a lot of stuff coming up down the pike. We got some watch-alongs that we did for MTV Spider-Man. We've got Books of X going to be going Patreon exclusive starting in July. So also got our VIPs, Scott, Vinkman, Sebastian, and Winnipeg Webhead. Thank you guys for your support. And then if you're watching us live on YouTube, we got our Friendly Neighborhoods here. They have our eternal thanks, but they will be mentioned on the audio edition. If you want to check out all our great shows here on the Spideydude Radio Network, we got Clone Saga Chronicles, show that started it all with me and Josh back in 2009. We got Spectacular Radio, Amazing Spider-Man Classics, Chris's Sal Buscema Era Podcast, Voices from the Eyrie, and Kelly's Make Mine Mayday. And of course, can't forget Books of X. New episode dropping very, very soon. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to follow us along on our social medias, you can follow us at Spideydude Radio on Twitter, at Spideydude Network on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We got the YouTube channel at Spideydude Radio Network. And then, of course, you can leave that voicemail at 818-925-6631. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching us live on YouTube, and if you're listening to the audio edition, thank you as well. We'll talk to you next time here on the Spidey Dude Radio Network.